So, Dave, plenty of positives to take from last weekend despite the late goal. Has that performance set the bar now in terms of intensity and performance from now on?
Hopefully, our out of possession stuff, like I said, was really good, and we take the positives from that and learn from the bits that we need to do better. I suppose nothing's changed from my thoughts straight after the game, really. We are in a really good position. The game should be over. We need to be more clinical in those moments. But then we got a bit safe at the back end, got ourselves penned in. And there's times when we're going to have to defend the block, not a problem with that. But we still need to break out of that block and be a threat the other way. So plenty for us to work on, but more like a Stockport County team in terms of the out of possession stuff and how we went about the press.
You've had to chop and change your backline quite a lot in the first few weeks of the season for various reasons. It was a new look back three last week. How do you feel like they did?
Yeah, it's been tough. It has been tough because we're integrating new players. We're integrating players that haven't had a pre-season. We've obviously had injuries across the back three, five, whatever we're going to call it, in different positions, as well as new players coming in. And that will still be the case for the foreseeable future because we've got players out. We've obviously two left wing backs that are out, some problems on the other side. To be fair, the centre backs have been pretty consistent in terms of availability to be picked, but Brad's obviously missed the pre-season. Joseph came into pre-season a little bit late, so we're still getting them up to speed, but hopefully that game does them the world of good. In terms of how they performed, I thought they performed really well. We knew that we were playing against a good team and we were going to leave ourselves exposed at times and rely on those three in particular to defend man v man, which I think they did really well, quite naturally. Towards the end of the game, you are going to tire, and we did have to try and protect and look after them a little bit. But like I said, the game will bring them on further. And you look at the profile of what we had, a really young back three with plenty of growth and plenty of improvement to come. So some really positive signs.
When you look at the winning runs that you've been on in the past, more often than not, it comes from a very settled side. How important is it to try and find that consistency in the weeks to come?
Of course it is, but sometimes that's taken out of your hands in terms of the team you can pick with injuries. And I suppose the danger a little bit for us is that because of the group we've got and the injuries that we've got, we're maybe asking players to or we're relying on players to play more minutes than maybe they should have when we're getting them up to speed. You look at us bringing Ozzy in, who's not played a lot of football. We've had to ask him to play back-to-back 90 minutes for us and play every minute of every game. Ideally, that wouldn't have been the case, and we'd have had options to change that and be able to switch things up a little bit, but that's where we currently stand. So with the group that we've got and the injuries that we still carry, there are going to be some risks involved. We hope that we have to, and the players have to push themselves. We don't push them beyond breaking point, which will allow us to be more consistent in the team selections that we do have. But at the moment, that's not the case. What we can't do is use that as an excuse. Every player, I've said previously, will tell me that they should be playing. When their opportunities come around, they have to grab them.
You said that there may be changes last week, and in the end, you made 4. It felt like the players that came into the team made a good case forward for the shirt, which is obviously what you'll have wanted.
Yeah, again, we're looking for, as I say, that consistency and looking for that performance. I think what we showed on Saturday was the identity and what the game looked like a team that I want us to be, and I want to be associated with how Stockport go about it. So that has to be a minimum. There's always going to be, like I say, always going to be changes, especially on the back of maybe some inconsistencies and some results that haven't gone in your favour. What we want to try and do, though, as you said previously, is get to a consistent place. The players that all started the game on Saturday performed at a really good level. We had a brilliant week in terms of training. We just didn't get the we got the last 30 seconds wrong, which ultimately cost us a deserved extra 2 points and would have been the icing on the cake to what was a really good week for us, but that wasn't the case. We had another really good week. We have to go and back that up with a performance on Saturday and hopefully get 3 points this time.
Obviously, one of those players that came in, Benno Anderson, he looked like really benefited from the time that he spent away on international duty. He really occupied Cardiff's backline last week, didn't he?
Yeah, Benno did well. Again, he's one that, in terms of front foot, in terms of pressing, is one that, with him being with us the back end of last year, understands what we're after. He benefited and probably didn't benefit from the international breaks. He played 290 minutes, which then meant from our side of things, we always thought that 60, 70 minutes was probably going to be where he was at, until we had to make a change, which was the case. Again, where he'll be disappointed is that he had 3 really good chances and chances that, with what he is, you expect him to take, but got into great positions, and we know that the more frequently we can get him on the pitch, if we create opportunities for him, then with his finishing ability, he'll take them chances and get himself some goals. Hopefully that's the case this weekend.
In terms of injuries, presumably no one's back this week, but has everyone come through the last week okay in terms of injuries?
Yeah, as I've said, we've got little bits that are a consequence of having to maybe play players more than what we should because of the personnel we've currently got available. There are some positions we can change. There are some positions where, if we did change, we're put in sort of square pegs in round holes, which ideally we don't want to do. So we'll see how people are. Like I say, we've worked hard the front end of the week, and obviously tape up into the weekend. Hopefully everybody's fit, because we want to, like I say, try and be as consistent as we can with that team selection in order to get ourselves a run going.
There was no Jaden Fevrier last week. Was that because of an injury or just because of the options you have at your disposal right now?
Yeah, just because of the options, really. You look at, especially going into last weekend's game, we're playing with 2 wing backs in Tyler and Ozzy that, I say, haven't played a lot of football, and you're thinking you're going to have to change at least one of them, if not both. And we didn't have loads and loads of sort of defenders available. Cal was an option for us as a centre-back. We didn't have the choices there. So, yeah, made the decision to go with what we did. That doesn't say that anything changes or there isn't going to be changed this weekend in terms of what that looks like.
Just on injuries, Rotherham have had it just as bad as us so far this season. They're into double figures now for injuries. Do you have some sympathy for them in that sort of situation?
Listen, I've got more sympathy for us because we're in the same position. But the way the game's gone now, I don't think there are many clubs that will be able to say, "Oh yeah, we've not had an issue with injuries." It's it's strange. I get the game's changed and the game's moved forward in terms of what it looks like on the pitch. But there has been a huge increase across the board in injuries, but you have to deal with that. That's why you have a squad. Injuries bring opportunities to other players. I would say that no one's going to have any sympathy for us, so we're not going to have any sympathy for anybody else. But obviously, you would love for, I suppose, like I said, with our squad, if everybody's fit, I think we're in a really, really good place. And a level playing field would see everybody, with every player fit for the whole season, and see who's the best out of those teams. The reality is that's never ever going to happen. So you have to deal with what's in front of you. Like I said, everyone will say that they should play. Injuries bring opportunities for other players. Yes, we have to tweak things and be a little bit adaptable. I suppose that's, for us, is a benefit of our squad because of how we recruit people that can play in different positions, and hopefully that'll see us well through this period.
When you look at Rotherham's home record as well, they've got 7 points from 9 games at the New York Stadium this season. Matt's made it a really tough place to go, hasn't he?
Yeah, it was a tough place to go last year, and always has been. You know what you're going to get over the past few years with Rotherham teams, not just Matt's team. Obviously, he came in at the back end of last year and made them I suppose more robust and more difficult to beat. And we expect that to be the same at the weekend. We know from going there last year in a game where we performed really well. Unfortunately, conceded a poor goal from our perspective from a set piece, which cost us 2 points. But if we can go and produce the same type of performance and the same type of performance as we did on Saturday, then we'll back ourselves to go and try and win the game. But we know it'll be tough. They've again had some, I suppose, more of a difficult year last year on the back of being relegated from the Championship. They would have hoped that they could kick back straight away. Wasn't the case, and they'll be hoping to have a better season this year and compete more than what they did at the right end of the table.
Thanks, David. Appreciate your time.
You're welcome. Cheers. Thank you.